And I think we're live. We are live. Hello, all my BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of Six-Sided Scholars, the TNA PLE/pay-per-view, however acronym you want to use it for. But we review the TNA pay-per-views, PLEs, here at the BC WrestlePod networking conglomeration syndicate thing we pretty much do every single day of the week, including some Thursdays, apparently. I am one of your hosts, Mikey, and joining me this evening, of course, it's been touch and go for a little bit, but JT is finally back in the fold after weeks away and not drowning in his dragon boat practices. So that's a good thing. How are we doing tonight, JT?
I am happy to be back. It has been way too long, and I am looking to see what everybody thinks about this current wrestling match. It was an interesting one, but thank you for having me back.
Yeah, we'll get into it in a little bit because as TNA fans, we find ourselves a 2-week turnaround between some pay-per-views during the whole year, so that's crazy. But I'm extremely excited to announce, and this person, he is new to the BC WrestlePod family, but a longtime friend of mine and some of the other folks here. And I'm super happy that things worked out and he's finally here. So I've been mentioning this in every review this week, but it is finally here. I would like to properly welcome Mr. Will to the BC WrestlePod family. I'm so happy to have you here, my friend.
You know, I happened to come on and I happened to be drinking from a bottle of water as I came on, and I almost did the Triple H thing, but I don't want to douse my computer. So,
oh my goodness! But I'm happy you're here.
Yeah, it's good to be here, man.
I'm really excited that you're here. I'm excited to get your perspective on things too, as this is really the first TNA thing that you got to watch. So we are baptizing you in fire, so to speak.
Yeah, I am a big AEW fan. I pay attention to WWE. Not religiously or anything like that. But I'm a big fan of like indie wrestling, silly wrestling, like I like the goofy shit, you know. Can we swear on here?
Yeah, we could swear on here.
Okay,
we're past the 2-minute mark, so we're good.
All right, awesome. But yeah, like so, I'm here for the stuff that not just the stuff that makes you pop, but also the stuff that makes you laugh. So,
exactly, man. We'll get you on Mystery Wrestling at one of these points.
Review. Don't threaten me with a good time.
I got to talk to JBL about that one to see what happens on that. That's so much fun now that we've added it to our roster. Unfortunately, we are down a member tonight, but that is okay. He will be back with us very soon. We got to figure out a way to differentiate. Now that there's two Wills, we need to figure out how we're going to differentiate between the two of you now.
I mean, my username's Radio. You can just call me Radio.
All right, so we'll call you Will for tonight, and then when the other Will comes back, we will start using Will and Radio, so we're good to go.
Cool.
But we are here tonight to review TNA's Against All Odds, which happened last Friday, so we're about a week later, which is fine with all of us here because we got to digest, watch, take notes for some of us. Notes are a thing that elude me. No, I'm just kidding. I watch the things and I like it, but I'm super excited to get into it. But before we get into all of that action, a little bit of what I call housekeeping. So if you've somehow found your way through the algorithm by word of mouth, or you just randomly saw, who are these wrestling nerds on my screen? Welcome to the BC WrestlePod world. We cover pretty much everything from the major promotions in the U.S., some of the indies in the U.S., as well as the international brands that include Mystery Wrestling, New Japan, Stardom, Progress, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. We cover a lot of things, so it was a lot of fun for sure. And we're happy that you found us here. So if you would be so kind, you can subscribe to us on the YouTube, follow us on the Twitch. But if you cannot commit the time to watch full-length reviews, that is okay because you could pretty much stay up to date with all the important stuff we talk about through the socials. Our auto context clips that totally will not come and bite us in the butt later about our takes, as well as all the report cards that we do for the weekly shows and the pay-per-views where you can read the results and then read our thoughts on why we gave certain shows and pay-per-views the grades that we did. We also have some merchandise because, we just love to merchandise ourselves out here. I'm super excited, though. We have merch for all the review teams here at BC WrestlePod. We also have 3 special collections. We dropped our Hot Boys Summer Collection, which is literally a luchador with the sun, fun in the sun, and all kinds of stuff. It's great. But we also have 2 special collections for the month of Pride and a new one that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But our Grapple with Pride collection, proceeds from that collection will be donated to Point of Pride, which is a charity organization that offers assistance and financial assistance for trans health and gender affirming care. And then in these trying times, we need to take care of our communities. But the newest collection that dropped about an hour ago is the We Don't Tap collection, which, without getting too on the soapbox for it, given the fact that I live in Southern California and not just here, but across the nation, of everything that is going on with certain, communities of Latino and South American descent, of individuals and the things that are happening. We dropped the special collection in order to kind of basically say, we ain't gonna tap out and you can't make me tap out. And proceeds from that particular collection will be donated to the CIYJA here in California, which offers assistance for not only immigration and immigrants coming into the country, but also children affected by said policies and things like that. So I will link a description in the chat below if that tickles your fancy. But now I got that out of the way. Let's get into why we're here, which is some TNA wrestling, especially Against All Odds. So what I've noticed this year, and I kind of enjoy given the fact that I was able to go to Rebellion back in April, is that now for a lot of these pay-per-views, TNA has somehow managed to find their way on a bunch of the college campuses. Because Against All Odds came from Arizona State. Rebellion was at the USC basketball arena at the Gallon Center. So I'm here for the college grounds being invaded by TNA wrestling. It's great.
Well, not for nothing. Like, honestly, as a smaller promotion, it makes sense because number one, it's cheaper to, book a smaller venue. And number two, when you air it, it looks more full. Like it looks like there's more people in there than is actually there. I mean, TNA could have used a little bit of help on the camera work because there were a couple too many shots sort of panning to the hard cam side where no one was sitting. And like, once again, no shade on them. No hate, but like it.
No, that is a thing that we always say here for TNA. I was like, we love them, but it depends on the pay-per-view because some of them is like, way to go, tech team. And then the other half of the time, we're just like, somebody's getting fired. I will say, though, the only person who truly knows this is one of our other hosts here at BC WrestlePod, JVL. He doesn't watch the TNA, but he needed to sub in for Against All Odds last year. Ooh, that was a rough one because they had so many technical issues. So I'm happy to say this Against All Odds was a lot better than last year's. We can actually hear people, but I'm super excited. We're going to go over Against All Odds, and then at the end, we will go over what happened on last night's episode of TNA, as all roads now lead to Slammiversary. But let's jump into everything. So I totally forgot about this, and I forgot to mention it to my co-hosts here, so if they didn't watch this match, that is okay, because there was a pre-show match on the countdown.
Oops.
That's my fault. I was like, don't forget to watch the countdown match. That is okay, though. It is okay. The countdown shows are hit and miss. Sometimes they have matches, sometimes they don't. But I do want to cover this one really quickly. We kick things off on the countdown with a 6 knockout tag team match, which sees the whole entire Elegance brand. So that is Ash by Elegance, Heather by Elegance, and Emma by Elegance. So it's the whole entire Elegance brand, the House of Elegance, the hottest new fashion trend, I guess. No, in all seriousness, I love the Elegance brand. They are ridiculous, but they're supposed to be given with how they present them or characters. It is great. Also, I will forever and a day love Ash, given the fact that we got a chance to interview her last year, so it was a lot of fun. But they are taking on the team of Zaya Brookside, so she's been here for a hot minute. And then our 2 newest knockout signees in Mila Grace and Harley Hudson. So this match was a lot of fun. There was a lot of shenanigans, and of course, the House of Elegance had their valet, George Iceman, who is also known as the concierge of the Elegance brand. So on paper, I already knew that the Elegance brand were probably going to win, but this was a very quick-paced match. Everybody got some time to shine. This showcased all 6 of these knockouts. And of course, the House of Elegance does pick up the victory. Elegance brand, we interchanged their names here. The match was fine, but I want to talk about what happened afterwards, though, because little fanboy in me was super excited because George Iceman gets on the mic. He talks about how there's nobody left in the Knockouts division that could touch the Elegance brand, specifically for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. And then, of course, for me, the familiar music hits, and we get the return of the Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconics, which makes me super excited. So our girls are back in TNA, and they're already making it known that they're coming for those Knockouts Tag Team Championships. And so I'm like, my world is complete. I'm so happy to see our girls back. So that's what happened on the Countdown show. Now let's get into all the matches that everybody actually watched now.
Yes. The things that we can actually comment on.
Yes. So we kicked off the main card for Against All Odds with our TNA International Championship match. This is our champion, Bag'em and Tag'em, Steve Macklin, taking on the Southern Psychopath. That is not a name I gave him. That is his moniker in GCW. And Mr. Mance Warner being accompanied by Steph DeLander.
You know, in that picture, Mance Warner looks a lot like Rhett of Rhett and Link.
Yes, I was about to say. You are not the only one who has thought that. I have thought this all the time, even in GCW. I'm like, but this picture specifically, I
didn't have that thought while watching the match. I did have that thought just now looking at this picture.
I love this. So this has been an interesting story building into this match because we've kind of been, I don't want to say all over the place, but back in April at Unbreakable, Steve Macklin was crowned the inaugural international champion. And then he defended it against Mance on TV, and then he defended it against Matt Cardona, and now he's defending it against Mance again. So for anybody who doesn't know, Steve Macklin is who I like to dub as Mr. Deonna Purrazzo. So this is the husband of Deonna Purrazzo, who we love. For me,
isn't Steve Macklin the name of the special agent that Andy was on Parks and Rec?
I want to say yes.
No, it's Burt Macklin. It was Burt Macklin. That's what it was. It's wasn't it? Hold on, I gotta look this up now.
That's hilarious.
It's gonna bug me. And hold on.
So while Will looks that up, for me personally, I really like this match. Again, this is the second time that we see Mance and Macklin go at it for this. I will say, I think because of potentially bleeding out last time we had this encounter, I feel like Macklin kind of pulled it back a little bit and didn't go as hard.
Yes. Burt Tyrannosaurus Macklin is the alter ego of Andy Dwyer from Parks and Recreation.
Yes, we love it. So I like this match. I will talk about it in a little bit, what ended up happening in the closing moments of this, but I'm going to go to Will first. So Will.
Yes.
So Macklin and Mance Warner, because you are new, I'm going to throw you into the fire first. Just kidding. So what did you think about the match itself and just your overall thoughts?
It was like I said, the overall thought, because I did have that Macklin thought while watching the match, and I'm sitting going like, is it Matt? Like, I thought Steve Macklin. I was trying to enjoy it for what it was, and like, I thought Steve Macklin was, Chris Pratt's alter ego, the special agent that he plays on Parks and Rec. No, it was a solid opener. Like, again, as someone who's very new to TNA, the guys put on a decent show. I've seen a few clips of Mance Warner from some of the matches that he's done in like GCW and some of the other indies out there, or some of the smaller promotions. It did a really good job of sort of setting the pace for the rest of the night. Because one thing that I did sort of recognize about this and a lot of other matches, I was mentioning this before we went live, was this sort of idea that like watching TNA is almost like watching someone playing a wrestling video game, because every wrestler on their roster has like double the move set. And I know people don't like using that word when talking about actual wrestlers, but has like double the move set of anyone in WWE, and probably even a handful more than most people in AEW. And they use them all. You know, it's like because WWE has a tendency to fall back on like every wrestler has like, I know Cena gets a lot of shit for having, you know, the 5 moves of doom, but like everybody has that to a certain extent. It may not just be the 5 moves that Cena has, maybe it's like closer to like 10, but like these guys have dozens. And it shows that these guys know their stuff and are willing to put on a show. I did think Macklin's gimmick was a little one note. I didn't get a lot of sort of like character energy off of him. But Mance kind of made up for that a little bit. Yeah, like I said, it was a solid opener.
Sweet. JT, same question to you now. JT, you've been here for a little hot minute, and lest we forget, we've just come off of the weird feud that he had with Eric Young for this title too, in which we literally saw a man get drugged on television, which was wild to watch. And now here we are once again. Macklin and Mance seem to be dancing forever, as seems like right now. So what did you think of our international championship match?
It like you said, it's been going on forever, and it's kind of one of those things that needs to be like just nipped right now. You know that like when they go out there and every time they get paired up, I'm like, I kind of sort of had the same thing that Will was having, where I wasn't, you know, trying to reference Parks and Rec, but I was like, okay, I know that this is going to be good, and I know that they're amazing technical wrestlers and stuff, but I was like, just make Macklin win and let's keep going. Like I loved watching him because I love that kind of back and forth, but Macklin is, like Will said, he's very stoic in the way that he does everything, and you're just like, my guy, a little bit more emotion, please. You don't have to be angry all the time.
I compared it to like wrestling video game. He's like a generic creator wrestler.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you've made the jaw a little too thick and the nose a little too pushed back. Yeah, that's exactly 100%. I agree. Yeah, but I mean, overall, technically, it was amazing.
Yeah, I think it's really tough too, because I feel that Macklin has put himself in the corner because his character is essentially a ex-military person. Literally, when he comes out, he's dressed in kind of the camos. His finisher is called the KIA, so it's just like you kind of paint yourself in a corner,
right.
When you have that. But it is with the KIA that Steve Macklin is able to put Mance away. Your winner and still your international champion, Mr. Stevelyn Macklin. So, again, I'm kind of glad that they got this out of the way to begin with, because the rest of the card, we'll just say had some ups and downs, and we're going to get to those. So let's get into our next match here, which we had. I love stupidity in wrestling sometimes, and this is great. But we get an 8-man tag team match. So this is not this Will's, our other Will's favorite peoples on the planet. Not really. The System, which is being represented by Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, Mr. JDC, also known as Johnny Dango Curtis, and our TNA X Division champion, Moose, taking on the team of the youngest in charge, Leon Slater, the Hardy Boys, and a mystery opponent that we weren't going to know until the start of this match. So when the Hardys and Slater make their entrance, and I could not stop laughing, they literally said, you know what, here's our tag team partner. He's the hometown man. I was like, okay, they're going to give us his name. And then I saw the background of the screens, and it's literally hometown man. I'm like, what in the world is this? And then JT, I don't know if you got a chuckle out of this too, because when we covered Under Siege, Eddie Edwards beat Cody Deaner, and Deaner was officially gone from TNA. Literally, this is Diener in a lucha mask, and I was just like, "Oh, here we go. TNA's El Generico has struck again." I was like, "This is gonna be stupid," but I love stupid sometimes.
He reminds me of a lucha version of the oh god, what is it? Part of the Black Widow crew from Marvel Universe.
Red Guardian.
Yeah, the Red Guardian. He's like a
Oh my
lucha version
God.
of the Red Guardian. I shit you not. When I saw him walk out, I was like, "What? Oh, okay, yeah, all right, this is happening."
So what I really hope is that I don't know who this Cody Diener guy is, but I really hope that this is his new gimmick, so that whatever town they go to, he just comes out in like local sports jersey, and just that's his whole thing. He's always the hometown guy. Also, I do love that his theme music was a sort of an homage to Dusty Rhodes's entrance music. He's just a working man, kind of thing. It's
that all of it was just like,
yeah,
okay.
I appreciated the hell out of that.
This match was just wild. I'm like, it was dumb in a lot of areas, but I love it sometimes.
I will say, as an AEW fan, it was really weird seeing the mat getting constantly stained with a color other than red.
I mean, you are not entirely wrong. We kind of bring up the same thing too when we're covering NXT, because NXT mats either end in red or lots of shades of brown and other like tan complexions, especially when Bronze Breaker was still in NXT. I'm like, my dude. No, okay. Like, you gotta admit,
wow.
Not Braun Breaker, but because of how dark he came out every single time, Bronze Breaker was Breaker. And it's still like that on Raw, but I digress.
That's like the equivalent of like having a modern day version of Gold Dust coming out.
Okay, but at least Dustin Rhodes knows what like a makeup set kind of like knows how to set the makeup so it doesn't smear all over the goddamn place.
You're not wrong there, but like having the name Bronze Breaker, that's like a Wish version of Gold Dust. Like, seriously. Like, wow.
So
yeah,
we digress though. But I agree, and especially with Jeff Hardy's face paint, just every single minute that this match passed, it's just like more and more was less on the face and more on the ground and the canvas. It was great.
Oh, and the other one was every time the announce team mentioned something about the system being taken out or something like that, my brain immediately filled in strong bad. The system is down. The system is down.
Yes,
exactly. And I'm just like, so it's no secret here that those of us who watch TNA religiously, we kind of feel that the system has kind of outplayed their longevity. We thought we were getting a breakup angle. Was not the case. They are still going strong.
Wait. Wrestling overplays major heel stables?
No.
We're like
no.
This is so surprising to me. I'm like the bloodline was perfectly timed. Death Rider's still going strong.
You know what I meant. I'm just kidding. Well, so they transformed from not getting the opportunity system to Pro America system, which has been a really weird transition, but it is what it is. I'm biased. I love me some Leon Slater. I think he's exciting.
He was fantastic. I will say that.
I'm like, this kid is barely 21 years old. This is wild. Mm-hmm. And this was just a fun match. I feel like the best way to describe this is that should have this been on the pay-per-view? Jury still out on it, but I still enjoyed it. I still had a good time with it. And thankfully, to rectify the Hardy, that Matt Hardy and Leon losing at Under Siege 2 weeks ago, we had the face team win here. And so we get a win for the Hardys, Leon, and the hometown man. And yes, I agree with Will. Next, because Slammiversary is in New York, if he comes back, I need him to he needs to wear Knicks jersey or something like that.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, TNA pay-per-views are always fascinating. They put stuff on here that could be saved for a regular weekly show, but it's still a lot of fun and everybody plays their part. We're going to talk about the system when we talk about the Thursday episode because they find themselves feuding with two different people, which is kind of weird at the same time. But we got to get into this match, though, because, woo, this was so much fun.
This was a killer match.
This was fantastic. So this is just a singles bout. This is the leader of Order 4. Yes, that is the name of their faction. Mustafa Ali taking on his cabinet member, Jason Hodge. So we previously touched upon this since Rebellion. Ali has kind of been going off the deep end ever since losing that Falls Count Anywhere match at Rebellion against Mike Santana. Ali has kind of lost himself, lost his way, and he's been getting kind of vicious. He pushed Tasha a couple of times. He's fought some of his other cabinet members leading into this pay-per-view. And because he went after Tasha Steelz again, the go home show, Jason Hodge stepped in and be like, enough is enough. And so that is how we got this match. Ali is fantastic. He's never going to not be good for me. But for me, as somebody who's been watching TNA since the pandemic era, which is about the same time that both of the good hands / great hands joined the roster, to me, this was Jason Hodge's like coming out moment, the coming out party, as I like to use here. This was so good to watch him because I'm used to seeing him part of the tag team. This was really good as a singles wrestler. This was definitely in my top matches of the whole entire card. I really enjoyed this one. We were talking a little bit about this before, but Will, you had some thoughts on this match, and I want to get your perspective. What did you think of this singles match between these two?
This is this is my match of the night, hands down. It's like this. So I wasn't really watching WWE during the pandemic era, so I didn't have a lot of exposure to Mustafa Ali while he was there. And like by the time I was watching WWE more regularly, he was gone. So, and I know they kind of, from what I understand, they kind of did him dirty anyway. But like, if this match is any indication, dude's kind of the total package as a wrestler. Like, awesome character work, awesome high flying spots, amazing technical skills. And that's like, because one of the things that we were talking about before we went live was it was really awesome to see a match that was as technically dynamic as this one was. Because especially as someone who's, most of the wrestling I watch is mostly, like I said, mostly AEW with a little bit of WWE. WWE tends to go for the power spots, you know, like the, oh, look at how big a power bomb, choke slam kind of power move kind of thing that they do. Whereas AEW's more of like the flippy acrobatic high flying stuff, which also I love. No hate on either of them. Neither of them are really doing technical wrestling particularly well right now. And like even the people that are really gifted technical wrestlers in AEW don't get the time to show that off. Like I know like Bryan Danielson's on his way out. I know he's mentioned like he's going down to either part-time starting next year or he's just retiring after this year or something like that. And like one of my favorite wrestlers in the industry right now is MJF, who is great in the ring. The problem is he kind of overshadows himself with his mic work. You know, like he's so brilliant on the mic. It's like, okay, yep, let MJF have a match, show off how good he is there, and just give him a mic back real quick so we can talk about it. You know, this was great. This match here was showing off technical skill and some really good character work and some really good high spots. That tornado DDT from the top rope to the outside, mind blow. Like one of the coolest moves I've seen all year. It's like, it's just so good. It was just so good. And like, and also sort of like, even the way it ended of the whole, they did a spot you never see in any major promotion anymore. It's hitting the finisher and intentionally pulling your opponent up. Like that was so cool to see. No one ever does that anymore. There was another moment later on in the card that you don't see in professional wrestling anymore, and it was really cool to see too. But I'll get to that when we get to it. But the way it ended, like after definitively winning and then going to shake his hand, and then jilting him, and it's like you can, and it's not just character work of like, oh, this building up to the crescendo that is the pay-per-view. It's also sort of driving the story forward even further of like, oh, what's going to happen with this stable now? And is it just going to go back to a tag team with sort of the weird King Ali at the top of the mountain, no one else can touch me, I am the best, fuck you all kind of thing. But yeah, no, like this was like, it's weird because like Mustafa Ali has a really good spot in TNA. And I would like to like be based on his performance here. I would like to see either, honestly, I would rather see TNA elevate a little bit off of some of their homegrown talent like Mustafa Ali. But if they can't, get Mustafa Ali back into more of a spotlight role in another promotion. And once again, I don't want to like, we're at a point where like having them move to other promotions feels like robbing the existing promotion of that, and like trying to maintain the balance, making sure everybody has good performers and everybody's able to put on a good show. And I hope he can keep doing that. And I hope TNA fits for him like that. I just don't want to see him like, I don't want to see him end up in the same spot as Joe Hendry, in that he's like, he's at the top of the world in this one promotion, and then he gets a little cup of coffee in another promotion where now he's kind of considered like an underling. I really resent the fact, like, and this is and we'll get into this when we get into the main event too. Like, I kind of resent the fact that TNA, because of its relationship with WWE, is kind of being treated like the developmental brand for NXT, and NXT is the developmental brand for WWE. You know what I mean? I hate that about it.
We've talked about it since we've gotten this partnership between NXT and TNA. Where the three of us who normally cover this, we're not blind to everything, because literally the TNA stars are going to end up going into WWE because that's where the big money is. I mean, we saw it. Like, thankfully, Speedball and Josh Alexander are in AEW, which I think they fit better there than in WWE, and they're fun. But then I'm like, Jordan Grace, who held down the Knockouts division since Pandemic with her and Deanna, and then carried it for afterwards before going to NXT. I was just like, Jordan, I feel like did everything that she could here. Now she wants to go in NXT. So that's cool with her. But yeah, I said this when the NXT team did the Battleground review during Memorial Day weekend. It's really weird watching the TNA World Champion be on an NXT star, but we'll talk about that in the main event, because I'm like, I still have a sneaky suspicion that a certain Puerto Rican wrestler here in TNA is going to ultimately get that title back to TNA, but we got a long road to get there.
Yep.
JT, really quick thoughts about this particular match between Ali and Jason Hodge.
Like I was saying when we were before we went live, it is, for me at least, coming into watching all of this with Mustafa Ali, it was nice to see him kind of branch off from not just going up against Mike Santana. The back and forth between him and Santana have been absolutely epic. Storytelling wise has been amazing. They've dug through a whole bunch of stuff, pulled stuff out, exposed it to the world, and then fought about all of it. And it was great. But now you get to see that kind of internal conflict with his own cabinet members and stuff. And it like Will was saying, that's like the acting of all of this, like how they're portraying everything and how things are coming out of the woodwork. Like it's really nice to see as a fresh perspective, if you will. Technically, the tornado DDTs, you had like double somersault frog splashes. Like, this was technically just amazing to watch, and having them back and forth doing something like this, I was like, okay, now I can see why this is, this was the main event in my eyes. I mean, there was another one that was there too. Like, there was another one that was there too, but like, this was really good and detailed Like
Right.
I would definitely consider this as a main event.
I mean, and to your point, Will, too, is that because last year Ali was here. He was our X Division champion after being freshly released from the Federation, and then he went to go back on other independent scenes. But now he's officially signed I think a 3-year contract with TNA officially, because
Nice.
the last time he was here, he was working on a part-time contract. But now he's here full-time. He's part of the official roster, so we're gonna be seeing him for a little bit, which
Very
makes me
nice.
excited. Ali does pick up the victory here. When we get into the Thursday episode, the dissension continues, which is very interesting to watch. So, okay. It is no secret that I find and Will finds the two of us do not like I like Casey, I like AJ. I do not like this faction. I hate the penthouse segment. I was just like, of everything you could have done with these two, you had to give them a talk show segment. I'm like, take the mics away from them. This essentially, I can summarize it as this. This is essentially these two doing what they do best, being annoying, putting themselves over, but also they're continuing to feud with Mike Santana, who the reason that we're continuing this is because on NXT, Mike challenged for the TNA. Again, this is a weird thing to say in 2025. TNA star Mike Santana challenged for the TNA World Championship against NXT's Trick Williams on the NXT show, and AJ Francis and Casey Navarro cost Mike the match. So it's kind of be wild and out here watching going ping-ponging back and forth between the two brands, but I digress. They talk a lot of crap about Mike Santana, and then in the background, we see like backstage video of him picking up a kendo stick and walking out of here to beat up on some fools, and beat up on some fools Mike Santana did until he got blasted with the champagne bottle, and that is how this segment ended. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm just kidding.
He's like, we're done.
I'm just kidding. Well, this was your first introduction to First Class and the Penthouse. How do we feel?
So I like AJ Francis a lot. Like he is probably my hold on. Trying to think. Okay. As a wrestler, Mustafa Ali is probably my favorite right now of what I've seen just after this one pay-per-view. But knowing what I know about him as a person and some of the stuff that he's done like behind the scenes and as a performer and stuff like that, AJ Francis is probably my favorite all around on the TNA roster. The reason for this is because I know he's kind of doing this like heel rapper Rick Ross, big money kind of gimmick. And I really love the fact, and because who he reminded me of all night on this was Ted DiBiase.
Oh my gosh.
No,
Yes.
he doesn't wrestle unless he has to, can pay people off to wrestle in his place. Like he is the new Ted DiBiase.
And he talks a whole bunch of shit too.
That is what Casey Navarro
exactly.
is. Casey does all the wrestling.
And honestly, I kind of love that about him. I was introduced to my first introduction to wrestling as a kid was in the era when Ted DiBiase was like the biggest villain imaginable. It wasn't Warrior, it wasn't Andre, it wasn't Jake the Snake. No, it was the $1 Million Man was the biggest bastard. And so anyone who can play that role and still be charming enough to if you want to see them just flaunt how much money they have and maybe pull off a choke slam so that they can get away. I love that. It's so much fun. It's so good. And it just tickles that nostalgic wrestling part of my brain. And on top of that, knowing backstage that AJ Francis is one of the biggest wrestling nerds in the world. He had a show on, I think it was either A&E or the History Channel.
Yep, where he went to go find the memorabilia. So
exactly.
Much fun to watch.
He's trying to dig out all of these like pieces from wrestling history, like the Sheik's Persian clubs and Foley's Mankind mask. And it's so much fun just to see this guy who is the size of AJ Francis go to these places and just be like, yes, sir, I was hoping I could find them. Someone told me that you, sir, Mr. Bob Backlund, might actually have the Persian clubs that the Iron Sheik used. Could we maybe see them, please? And maybe swing them around a little bit, please, sir? It's the cutest thing. It is like, if you haven't seen it, you can find clips of it on YouTube. Go check it out. It's so good.
I need to see that because that would be absolutely amazing to watch. Like just to see him as his stage presence alone. Like you said, he is very Ted DiBiase like, and he does kind of look like Rick Ross. So it's like,
yeah,
god damn. And so, but like,
you're literally one away.
They need to get you know what they need to do? You know what they need to do. Okay. Keith Lee has been kind of floundering. Like I think he's still technically on a contract for AEW.
He's been MIA for so long.
Exactly. Get him on TNA, pair him with AJ Francis so that AJ Francis can be just like, you're one big motherfucker, ain't you? And just label him Big MFer, you know?
Yeah. It would be so much fun. But again, this segment is continuing the feud between First Class and Mike Santana. So we'll talk about it a little bit more because Mike Santana was banned from the building on the Thursday episode. But in reality, he had to go defend his House of Glory championship in New York. So that's stay tuned on more on that. I'm biased. This was my favorite. I love this match so much, but that's because I'm a big Masha Slamovich fan. So this is for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. Masha Slamovich defending her championship against Liang Li, formerly known as Xia Li of NXT and WWE. I like this one because I wasn't sure how I was going to figure Masha and Liang Li, who is very big in her martial arts when she wrestles, were going to be able to work it well. This was just very stiff, and I loved it.
I will say this is the first. I think this is the first match of the evening where I felt ill-equipped as someone new to TNA about this. I only really knew Masha Slamovich by reputation, just as like one of the more dominant forces in the Knockouts division. The other thing that sort of threw me a little bit was Killer Kelly coming in.
We gonna talk about her in a little bit.
It's like, oh, they were a tag team, MK Ultra, and like I'd heard of the tag team MK Ultra before, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, I guess this. And I'm sitting here like, well, I guess this is a big deal for TNA people. It's
if it makes you feel any better, I thought the same thing. And the funny part to it also is the very first time that I watched either one of these two was which one did I first get into? My first episode.
That was the Sacrifice pay-per-view back in March.
There you go. So
because it was a tag team match.
Watching Lee, I was like, okay, martial arts, like technicality, amazing. Had no clue who either one of these two were. Like you, Masha Slamovich, by reputation, they were mentioning her name all over the everywhere. I was like, okay, well, she's got to be really badass. And then all of a sudden I watched her and I was like, that's why she's got the reputation. But like this, along with a lot of the other matches for this pay-per-view, was a lot outside of the ring, which you don't really see constant. And so it was kind of cool to watch, but like when they would get inside of the ring, their technical prowess started to kind of take hold, and you'd start watching like, you know, all of the kicks and slaps and pokes and, you know, various things. But like, I really wanted Lee to win, even though I'm a huge fan of Slamovich. Like I wanted to just see Lee win just because like that's it. Sometimes she's not quite an underdog. I mean, she came, you know, down through NXT and stuff, but like, I was like, maybe we'll get lucky and there'll be a little bit of an upset. So then during like Slammiversary, like they can go back at it again. And I don't know, but like, yeah, it was good. I liked watching it.
I did appreciate the spot that they had where it was like they were sort of playing like one of them was going to suplex or powerbomb the other one on the stairs. And then like I think Lee had Slamovich like up and like walked up the stairs and just sort of like sack of potatoes her over, and it was and once again like it's the kind of spot that like if other people had done, I could see other people doing that and just being like that was kind of underwhelming, but the way they sold it made it look like, oh well, that's not a move that I would have thought to do in that particular situation.
I think they even said that they tossed her like a sack of potatoes. They were like, whoa, hey, she got tossed like a sack of potatoes.
Tom Hannafan and like the drama king Matthew Raywald to give us these commentaries. I love them so much. But Masha Slamovich does retain her championship, and to Will's point of what and JTU both led into, after the match, the lights go red and we get the return of Killer Kelly, which, so as somebody who's been watching TNA for a couple of years now, made me excited. Killer Kelly is returning from having a whole entire baby. So she went to go play mom for the last year and a half. Her and her husband, Myron Reed, who is also a wrestler and also a member of the Rascals, which is really fun to watch all that go down. Cutest little thing on the planet, but we are revisiting this. And what I'm hoping from this is because, again, Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich were a tag team. They were tag team champs at one point of MK Ultra. I'm hoping they tap into that more violent side that we got to see with MK Ultra, because I feel that, not to say that current Masha right now doesn't have that killer instinct, but I will also agree that she has not been given, I think, the feuds that would bring that out of her. They tried with her Rebellion opponent, but JT will know this. That was a rough build to Rebellion, because the whole it started at Sacrifice in March, and we spent a month and a half mostly outside in like social media promos and stuff like that. But given the fact that the audience would not let, because for all intents and purposes, her opponent for Rebellion in April was Tessa Blanchard. So that's how we felt too. And like at the pay-per-view, it was really rough to watch, and I felt so bad because Masha deserved more.
You mean as she's known by crowds all over the world, she's a racist. Clap, 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 clap.
Yeah. Oof. It was a rough go, but hopefully this will allow Masha to tap into what made us love her when she first came into the TNA scene, where she's like, all right, we're going to destroy you. And that's that. So excited. This should be fun. Joe Hendry. This one hurt to watch.
Yeah.
Very much so.
This one hurt to watch. Storyline wise, I really hope TNA does something fun with this downward spiral we're starting to see Joe go down. But this one was really, really rough. And this one was really rough, especially since anybody who watches our show knows that we cannot stand Mr. Franklin Kazarian, the character. Him as the person, I love Frankie. He's great. His character is giving me midlife crisis. And he comes out in like the dad scarves and the oversized glasses. He just bought a Harley. Like this, like since he turned heel, this is the character we've been getting since February, and it is really cool. The potential for this was kind of great though, because Frankie's like, how in the world do you lose the TNA World Championship to an NXT star? Which I was like, okay, I could get behind that beat. But then Frankie started to make it all about him. I'm like, and we lost the plot. So It is what it is. As far as this match goes, this was fun. But it's really tough to watch Joe Hendry go down this downward spiral.
I like the note that I took here was like, I'm not sure I like all business Joe Hendry. And it's just like
Sad Hendry makes me sad, you guys.
Sad Hendry.
Yeah, 100%. And it's kind of like it's almost like they were kicking a dog while it was down.
Yeah.
Like he had his injury that he came into this current pay-per-view fight with. And it's like, all right, so you were okay, but you're not okay. And like, you could have made this really awesome, and they could have been like, oh yeah, he was injured, but he fought through and beat Kazarian. But no, they just made him lose again. And I'm like, wow, that's
Are we building to emo Hendry?
Listen, if we get a whole Hot Topic wig and everything, we're good to go. Like, as fun as that would be, I think this has been a really, okay, how do I want to put this without upsetting people? While I was happy to see
upset people, that's how you get viewers.
yeah.
I was super happy when Joe finally won the title from Nick Nemeth, and I was extremely happy with all of that. However, the feuds that Joe got as champion have kind of been all over the place. So I thought we kind of never got a rematch between him and Nick Nemeth, which was kind of wild.
That better be on Slammiversary.
Well, we'll see what happens, because currently Nick and Ryan, your tag team champs, are kind of busy in the tag team scene. So we'll see what happens with all of that. And then it was fun watching Joe pop in NXT, and then he got RKO'd at WrestleMania, which I don't care what nobody says. I enjoyed that. I love that for him.
And if you've seen any interviews with Joe, he is super proud of that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was a squash match, but like it's still like he got the seal of approval from, like, he was in WrestleMania, and not just in WrestleMania. He was in, it's not like he, showed up for like a guest segment or something. No, he was in the ring with Randy Orton,
which was great. And again, this version of Randy Orton, just as a side note, is my favorite version, because he's just like, I don't care. We're going to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
I was like, him and being a huge nerd and a dork, like dropping Elden Ring in the middle of a promo. I was like, sir, what are you doing? Like, I was like, you are
Living
cool,
his best
dad,
life.
Randy Orton right now. It's great. But all to say is that those moments were really cool, but TNA has kind of been all over the place with his feud. Like, we never revisited Nick. Really, it's been mostly Joe and Frankie, and then at Rebellion, we inserted all ego Ethan Page from NXT into the triple threat at Rebellion. So Joe has been in a lot of tag team and kind of weird feuds. And so as soon as I heard that at Battleground for NXT, that TNA championship was on the line with Trick Williams being his opponent, I was like, yeah, Trick's probably going to win this. And I don't know how long Trick is going to hold this. I thought maybe he would drop it at Slammiversary, but given what has been transpired within the last couple of weeks, I actually think Trick might hold on to it a little bit longer. But this one was really rough to watch Frankie Kazarian actually, with feet on the rope, beat Joe Hendry and continue for Joe Hendry to just downward spiral into a well of sadness.
I do want to say, for the record, one of my dream programs is get these two. I know they're on different promotions right now, but get Frankie Kazarian and Kip Sabian in the same thing, because I confuse the two of them all the time. And
That's very fair.
If you say the name of one, I will picture the other. It's like a Bill Pullman, Bill Paxton thing. No, their names are not that similar, but you will think of the other one when you say the other one's name.
Or like Elijah Wood and Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah. But see, the thing is, like, Elijah Wood and Daniel Radcliffe look kind of similar as like short white guys with glasses and mousy brown hair. Kip Sabian and Frankie Kazarian don't look anything alike.
Nope. But yeah, this was a rough match to watch, because I think the in-ring, there was lots of moments that I liked, but because of the end results, and I was just like, Joe, like, the locker room is getting on you. Everybody's like, in storyline, everyone hates you for losing the TNA World Championship to NXT, and that's a lot to weigh. I'm really hoping that we can make something fun out of this, but I have not been a fan of almost. We're at Spencer's Joe Hendry. We haven't hit Hot Topic at Hendry yet.
And it's the front half of Spencer's, not the back half of Spencer's.
Yes.
That's a whole different podcast, and we end up in the back of Spencer's.
If he ends up at the back half of Spencer's, he's going to end up teaming with the Rascals. Speaking of which,
oh my goodness! But yeah, so Frankie wins. Very sad for Joe Hendry. But speaking of the Rascals, we get into the TNA World Tag Team Championship match. This is the Rascals being represented by Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz, taking on the nemesis of Nick and Ryan, your current tag team champions.
The Rascals, aka D-Generation X's final form.
Yeah.
I mean, they had they teamed up with X-Pac at freaking Rebellion. It was crazy and so much fun to watch. Not even gonna lie.
It's like them being, impertinent, immature shitheads with a black and neon green color scheme.
Yep.
And
you're real close.
The treehouse segments.
The freaking
Literally, it's crazy to watch them because of the fact that even their entrance, they start off with the I was like, oh, never change, you guys.
With a twist of Rob Van Dam.
Yes. They also teamed up with him at one point too, so it's kind of crazy out here. But
not shocked.
I like the match, but I feel like we talked a little bit about this before we went live. The best parts were all the things that the mics picked up from everybody in this match.
Was it the guy when they're trying to do the very technical stuff, or Ryan was trying to do real technical stuff at the beginning, and I don't know which of the Rascals is which, but the one from the corner yells, "This is professional wrestling, you idiot!" It's
they just say off the cuff stuff all the time, and I feel that this was a fun match just because of all the extra commentary they gave us. And this was also a really fun one too. Again, I love the Rascals. They're one of my favorite tag teams currently for the men's side of things in TNA, just because of the fact that they just decide, you know what, let's see what crazy stuff we can do today. So
I am a little bummed that they sort of alluded to that they were setting up for their tag team finishing move. Would feed them to the Lions, I guess. And I am a huge sucker for a good tag team finishing move. I love seeing innovative tag team finishing moves. I will say, for the record, it's one of the reasons that I really want the Chase U tag team or stable to get up to the main roster, because what do they call it? The Fratliner? That sort of rollover flatliner move. That's a great tag team finisher. But I'm a little bummed that we didn't actually get to see Feed Him to the Lions, but I will go on YouTube and find a clip of it, an example of what it looks like later on.
But yeah, the Nemesis retained their championships, as I figured they would. When they introed this match, I was just like, listen, I know Jeff couldn't go to Canada because of reasons, but did you really have to tell us on commentary that Leon Slater subbing in with Matt was their contractual rematch? I was like, no, but it is what it is. So the Nemesis continue to be our TNA World Tag Team Champions. I'm interested to see who goes up against them next, especially for Slammiversary, and we shall see what happens with all of that. Oh, Santino. Yes. I already knew what I was going to get with this entire match. And the fact that this was the semi-main event was fantastic. It was so much fun. Literally, this is the winner becomes the official TNA Director of Authority. So this is Santino Marella, our deputy of TNA, which he is the best authority figure right now across any promotion right now. It is so much fun to have him. And he is going up against NXT's their kind of backstage person and Mr. Robert Stone, formerly known as Robbie E of TNA. Listen, it was a dark time in the 2000s. He was literally JT, I kid you not, Robbie E, his character, Robert Stone's character as Robbie E was Jersey Shore reject. It is literally he came out with as much Gorilla Glue type gel in his hair, badly spray tan, the glasses.
Wait. So what you're telling me is in the 2000s, he was to TNA what Matt Cardona was in the WWE.
Yes.
At the same time.
Matthew, we will talk about you in a little bit. Well, I mean, let's talk about him now because
he's the ref here.
He was the ref here. And earlier in the show, we saw Tessa, Victoria Crawford, formerly known as Alicia Fox in WWE, and Robert Stone bribed Matt Cardona to kind of sway things in their favor. And so this match was stupid, but the best kind of stupid.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I said, I am a fan of silly over the top wrestling.
This was so much fun.
So this is it didn't quite get to mystery wrestling levels of silly, But you know what it was? It was like Lucha Underground levels of silly. You know,
I was about to say yes.
Like in hindsight, I didn't realize it until just saying this now. I'm sitting like this reminded me of a lot of like some of the best Lucha Underground matches, and yeah, no, this was fantastic. Santino's still got it. He got the "you still got it" chance at the end, and it was a lot of fun. It based on the storyline bits that we were getting sort of leading up to it, it did kind of feel like a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Like it was like there was really no like threat of Robert Stone actually winning kind of thing. But like still, it's not about the ending, it's how you get there. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
it's not how you start the race, it's how you
Right.
finish.
yeah, you
People
can
at
say
home,
that.
take note.
Yeah, you can say that Rosebud was his sled, but what does that mean in the grand concept of in the grand context of things?
Yes.
You
Will,
know?
I love you so much. So, and of course, I'm never gonna not pop for the Cobra. Like,
And yeah, I just compared professional wrestling to Citizen Kane. Fight me.
do it in the comments section. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Well, it's funny. There's have you guys seen there's a video on YouTube from the video essayist Super Eye Patch Wolf.
Yes, I love
it's
it.
like-
I love their work.
It's like 2.5 hours long, but it's basically it's about the build of like Cody Rhodes finishing his story, right?
Uh-huh.
And basically going into like the lore of like everything involved in it. And when I say it's 2.5 hours long, it means they don't skip a single beat. And
so
like
much detail.
when you're watching this, you realize that this story, completely like maybe not completely, but mostly by accident, is downright Shakespearean.
It really was.
You know, it literally is two houses, both alike in dignity, with this, you know, weird corrupt overlord pulling the strings. You know, like because it's the Anawais and the Rhodes with the McMahons going, ah ha ha ha, dance for me, motherfuckers. But while the Anawais were like, yes, of course, Overlord, we shall dance, and the Rhodes is like, but why? And it's like, oh well, just cut those strings, and you guys are fuck off. But it gets into details like Ric Flair and Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins and like how they all play into it. If you haven't watched it, go like if you have a spare 2.5 hours, watch it. It's so good.
Get a snack, eat some dinner, watch it. Like it's your dinner in a movie. It's
movie night,
really
yeah.
good.
Dang. Okay.
Santino ultimately wins here. He is officially the TNA Director of Authority. This was probably my feel-good match of the whole entire card. I was like, Santino, I love you! And I also love that he gets to work with his daughter, Ariana, who's in NXT, and just the fact that they both get to work together is kind of crazy. Santino, I love you and your Canadianness. So, I was like, feel-good moment. I was like, oh, I can go home happy. Oh, wait, there's still one more match. All right, let's see how this goes. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the positives, right?
In the immortal words of Dan Olson, what can I say but yikes?
So, okay, I want to start off with the positives. I love me some Elijah. That's where it stops. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's the thing. So, I, as the NXT person, also as well as all the other shows we do here, because I watch everything, which is wild. The biggest critique we have on NXT with Trick is that since losing the NXT championship first to All Ego Ethan Page, and then that getting tossed to Oba, and for the first half of this year in NXT, him trying to get it back, his character has become very one note. And we made the comparison that Trick Williams is acting like Carmelo Hayes did before he got over to main roster towards the tail end of the NXT one, which is fine and everything. Trick still needs to diversify this move set because it is still the same thing like when he first started wrestling like a year and a half ago with Carmelo Hayes. I'm like, Trick, I love you, but we need to diversify this. And unfortunately, it really showed. And you kind of need to kind of figure it out. Now, granted, Elijah, I think, is a very good dance partner, whoever goes up against him. Also, that is a big motherfucker, too. I was just like, I can grate cheese on those abs, but that is for a whole nother podcast. This was really tough to watch because I already figured Elijah was not going to win this one. And the match itself was fine. And that's very disappointing, especially since this is for your world championship in a main event slot. I'm not saying all main events need to be 5-star bangers, but this was really tough to watch. And I was like, Trick, I love you, but we got to diversify that moveset. And Elijah, I love you, but this was, you did your best.
It's amazing for a guy that's named Trick. He doesn't have very many.
So okay, I posit a question to the both of you, and anyone in chat. Feel free to respond to this as well. How bad does a match have to be until the crowd starts chanting for the return of a wrestler that's not even in the promotion you're watching?
This was tough.
Because if you while you're watching this, what were the chants that were coming out? What's up? We want truth. And now I understand this pay-per-view aired pretty much the day of or the day after the announcement of R-Truth's release before it was reversed.
And this pay-per-view happened the day before Money in the Bank, the return of truth.
Right. So so I understand the timing of it means, it's still fresh in everybody's mind. It's still there's still that demand. It's not like someone, missed it and then oh, why did we get the entire crowd chanting for R-Truth to come back? Excuse me. Can't even be come back. We're watching TNA. He'd be coming back to WWE. It's it's not so put it this way, it wasn't so bad that the crowd was chanting boring or anything like that. There were I have heard critiques of matches that I can't remember what I was watching. I was watching someone's top bottom 8 WrestleMania matches or something like that, and there's one where people were chanting "This is awful," it was wow. It was a Brock Lesnar match. I remember that much.
That tracks.
Maybe one of the Lesnar Triple H matches or something like that. Where
Lord Almighty.
And the crowd was chanting, "This is awful, boring," or we want refunds. That's the bottom of the barrel. Okay. And this was after, of course, the obligatory CM Punk chants because he wasn't in it wasn't in the promotion at the time. But it's that's the bottom of the barrel. But one step up from that bottom is chanting for a wrestler that's not even in the promotion that you're watching. It's and I understand you said that the match was fine. I am gonna have to respectfully disagree with you. There were between
you're fired. No, I'm just kidding. No, I love it.
It's
I'm all here for opposing views. Trust me.
It's the crowd wasn't into it, and you could see that the crowd not being into it was starting to get to the wrestlers. During some of the R-Truth chants, Elijah was calling out to the fan. You could see him going I don't know what you want me to do about that, man, kind of thing. And there were especially towards the end, there were a couple of botches, kind of sloppy, setups, and the sloppy setups were timed with AJ Francis coming out to the ring. So I don't think the crowd in the stadium noticed them quite as much. The audience at home, because the cameras were trained on the wrestlers rather than AJ Francis coming out, we at home caught it. And there were a couple of flubbed grabs, a couple of flubbed setups, and there was a moment where Elijah almost crotched himself on the ring, trying to go for a superplex or something. And it and don't get me wrong, and I don't want to. This is not a condemnation of the performers involved. Wrestling's a hard job. I would not have been able to do any better. I can say that with a certain degree of certainty, but it's still when it is the main event of a pay-per-view, it shows, and it sort of drags it kind of drags the whole thing down by association, and it brings like, but it could be a perfect, like if you have an ice cream sundae and it has all of your like fresh fruit, your favorite ice cream flavors, homemade whipped cream, like everything you love about it, but someone just dropped a little, I don't know, like someone dropped a sardine on top of it instead of a cherry, you'd be sitting here going like, really? Okay. If I have to, kind of thing, it's.
Or it just started melting and you're like, all right, I guess I'll eat this now.
Yeah.
You're like, sure, might as well. Yeah, this was definitely a rough watch to go. Trick Williams does win. I want to say I'm interested to see how the dynamic between Trick and First Class is going to go, but also I don't at the same time.
I think you mentioned earlier that you're sort of angry that you think Santana is going to be going for the TNA title.
That's the hope, but I don't know anymore.
I feel like that's sort of a natural on-ramp to that.
Right.
If Santana is feuding with First Class and First Class allies themselves with Trick Williams, then it makes sense for Santana to go after Trick Williams. So it's like it feels like sort of a natural story progression.
Right. I ultimately think Santana will be the one to dethrone Trick. I did mention when Trick did win it at Battleground, I was like, oh yeah, he'll probably drop it at Slammiversary to Mike Santana. But I have been proven wrong many a times here when reviewing TNA. So I will correct it and say earliest is probably Slammiversary. I'm going to be completely honest. The next big 4 pay-per-view after Slammiversary is in the fall, which is Bound for Glory. I do not see Trick holding this thing until Bound for Glory. I think Slammiversary or whatever pay-per-view is after Slammiversary is where we get that title switch. But again, I think we're getting Elijah and Trick for now because Elijah is teaming with Elijah will be on NXT this Tuesday, teaming up with Josh Briggs and Pro Wrestling Noah's Yoshiki Inamura, taking on Trick Williams and First Class.
Wait, is it going to be Elijah or Elias on NXT?
It's Elijah.
Is it Elijah? Okay, I want to know. I just want to be sure which brother is going to be there.
Right. I don't care. I love that gimmick. Fight me. It was so fun. But this is what the main event was. Trick Williams does win. That is how we go off the air for Against All Odds. Overall, I enjoyed the pay-per-view. It did have its ups and downs. But again, because this is what I call like the B-level pay-per-views, this is not one of their bigger ones. I figured, and again, we fall into the trap where we just had Under Siege 2 weeks ago, and it's like, and we got 2 weeks to build. Go.
like I said earlier, I'm an AEW fan. That's nothing I'm not used to.
That's also very true. I will appreciate though that this was not a 4-hour show. We had like 15 matches on the card. Tony Khan, I love you, but like 7 to 8 is the sweet spot. I was fine until you gave me those 5 extra matches. And it was like 3 on 0 hour and 5 more on the main card. I'm like, sir, it is like 9 p.m. Pacific. I got to go to bed.
Although I didn't catch this week's Dynamite, but I heard it was killer. Like all 4 hours were amazing.
Nothing. I will say this. I think Summer Blockbuster was the stronger because the previous week was also another 4-hour show. The previous week was Fighter Fest. Yeah. I will say Summer Blockbuster felt like it didn't waste any time and more women's matches because we complained about that on Fighter Fest. But that's check out our Tuesday review. We're also going to be, I'm excited for Grand Slam Mexico. That's going to be fun too. Yeah. But I digress. So overall, Against All Odds was pretty fun. Now we're going to speed run through the Thursday episode really quickly. So, speed run time. Here's what you missed on Glee. No, just kidding.
It's all right. I actually didn't get a chance to watch it. Sorry.
Nah, it's okay. Honestly, I can give you the quick rundown because we have weeks until Slammiversary. So, we're going to be spending a lot of time together slowly building to this. So, let's go quickly into this week's episode of TNA. Mike Santana has been banned for 2 weeks after fighting with AJ Francis, which I'm kind of perplexed. The fact that he got smacked across the head with a champagne bottle and First Class is still there, but, it's wrestling, so I don't mind it.
You know, I just noticed that Santino in this particular light at this profile, Santino Marella looks like a mini John Moxley with
Yes.
that face, like that sort of scowl on his face. It's like, yeah, he's mini Mox. It's
We love it. So Santana begrudgingly agrees, but he gonna find first class and whoop their butts later. Also, Santino throws out Robert Stone indefinitely, which was really fun to watch.
That's hilarious. He's like, I'm the director of authority again, and now you just get out.
Goodbye. So
I beat you, so now you just see a bye.
You leave. We love to see it. Santino kicks off. I love these graphics that TNA gives us all the time too. Shout out to their graphics department. But Santino kicks off the show. He tells us that basically what we're getting for the episode, that he is really appreciative of the fans for continuing to believe in him. And it's because of the fans he was able to give it a little extra oomph to win at Against All Odds. And then just randomly, it was like, because of what happened in the 8-man tag with Leon Slater pinning Moose, all I will say about this is that it is now time for Moose to lose his title to Slater. These two have been going at it since the beginning of the year. I thought Slater was finally going to get it at Rebellion, but he was just 5 seconds too late to do so. But at TNA Slammiversary, the X Division Championship will be on the line. Moose versus Leon Slater. I'm rooting for Leon. Please give him the title, TNA. But I digress.
He's been building up a lot. Like,
yes,
they've been building him up a lot. So like to see him win this in Slammiversary would be like that non-sardine on top of your ice cream.
Well, and that's like, this is also a match that, like, one of the things I think I mentioned this before we went live is that TNA, I really want to see TNA do more with their sort of homegrown talent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, TNA has, like, over the years, like, if you look at sort of the history of TNA, they have a bad habit of, like, holding on to the legends that they have at their worst times. You know, like, Perk Angle, Jeff Hardy at his lowest point, Hulk Hogan at his most political. You know, it's like, and when I say political, I don't mean, you know, MAGA hat bullshit. I mean, like, backstage politicking.
Boo
like,
this man.
Yeah, boo this man. Continued booing this man. It's so, like, and that's why I would like to say, and I know Mustafa Ali has, you know, came up through WWE, so he's not technically homegrown, but like, he's become more of a main eventer since coming to TNA, and sort of elevating people like Moose and Leon Slater and the Rascals and who else did I see tonight that was like strap a rocket to this man's back?
So you have Leon, you have Moose, you have in terms of the men's division, you have Mike Santana, strap the rocket to Mike.
Oh, I've been a fan of Santana for a minute. He was in AEW for a while there too. So like, and that's, well, like, so I made that prediction of Santana taking the title from Trick Williams. I'm about 50-50 for wrestling predictions, so don't put any money on what I say. I mean, like, seriously, I had that one out of the blue prediction of Joe Hendry showing up at WrestleMania. But at the same time, I've predicted Eddie Kingston to come back for the last like 4 AEW pay-per-views. Okay. It's get better soon, Eddie. We missed you.
Mad King.
Yes, please. Like, it's gotten to the point where I have his entrance music on my liked songs on Spotify, so that at random moments, it's it'll come up like, you know, the world is cold, better bundle up, and I'm like, fuck you, Eddie.
Oh my goodness, I love that so much. Oh, I love it. But I'm excited for this match at Slammiversary. TNA, do the right thing. Give Slater the title, please.
Yep.
The Inspiration were in action, and they won in their first match back in TNA. And again, they're coming after those tag team titles.
Woo!
I love these girls so much.
Mild shock, but woo!
Woo! I'm excited. Of course, they took on some of the local talent in the area, which was really fun to watch still, too. And Inspiration win. Yay. We're going to make this as a wallpaper. The Hardys are
wait.
one. Yeah.
We're going to make this a wallpaper in 2025? Holy shit.
I know, right? It's hard to believe that like
In 2025,
they've
man.
they've
This-
been rocking it this long. I
This would have
was
been my
watching
wallpaper in 2005. Okay?
exactly. I was watching these guys back in like when I was in high school and I was a graduate of 2000.
Yep.
I was still watching these guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
So,
Are you
like-
kidding? Okay, I mentioned earlier that like I'm a sucker for a good tag team finisher. The reason for that is because I came up through the late Attitude era of the Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the greatest tag team of all time. I will accept no substitutions, the Dudley Boys.
Hell yes. Like the only thing that I could say that would be older than that would be like the Road Warriors or something along those lines.
Yep.
Like that's spot on. Spot on.
I'm the baby of this group.
Yeah, we old. It's okay.
Yep.
We're just very experienced in life.
No, I can't wait for the other Will to get back on here too, because radio, you will love the conversation. This man has been watching wrestling since the 70s. So
Oh my god.
Yeah. He's
Hey,
older than I am, and I know I'm old. So
Hey, I turned 40 last October.
Yep.
And
an October kid. Yes. Yes. I'm
yeah,
44 myself. Sorry, I just keep it just
Yep.
October
Yep.
44.
no, it's I turned 40 last October, and I decided that I'm still young enough to go out and have fun. So I decided I am to score and ready to score. It's
Yes.
Hardy, just like the Hardys. The Hardys are ready to get back to the top of the tag team division. So will they be successful? Tune in to find out. I love it.
will they get to the top of the tag team division pretty quickly, only to jump off because that is a ladder.
Listen, the amount of ladder matches we have seen Matt and or Jeff individually or together this year has been wild. We get a first class penthouse segment with Trick Williams in first class. They just be healing it up and hyping each other up. So I do appreciate that we change AJ Francis' shirt every time we get this graphic, though. He's in a different outfit every single time, and I appreciate it. And then Casey's just the same graphic.
Same image every time.
We love to see it. So
yes, first class indeed.
we will
Top production quality.
We will be talking about them later when we get to the main event because they pulled double duty this evening. We get a bit of a standoff. It's Jason Hodge kind of like seems to side with Order 4 in all of this because so we are getting the System and Order 4 kind of feuding.
Heel fight.
Listen, JT, probably you can either agree or disagree with me. We've been previously talking about in previous episodes that we want to see more for the System, and Order 4 is fairly new, so we wanted to see what it is. I am here for this fight. I'm not going to lie.
It's going to be awesome.
So at the very beginning of this review, I talked about how the System on this episode of TNA on this Thursday were kind of pulling double duty because they're dipping their toes into two different feuds. So this is feud number 1. This is feud number 2. So they go up and talk to Matt Cardona. And so they're just like, we don't like you. We're going to fight you. Pick a tag team partner of your choice and we'll fight. So it's really funny to watch Matt Cardona and Brian Myers be at odds with each other because they're like the bestest of friends in real life, and their podcast and everything is kind of crazy. But yeah, System's pulling double duty. They just fighting everybody backstage.
Sorry, I can't hear that expression with in terms of wrestling without my brain defaulting to. You mean they're best friends? Bum, 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 bum.
I missed that. Anywho, so this segment ends though because Brian Myers and Matt Cardona kind of get in each other's faces. So we shall see what happens and transpires in the coming weeks. This match was awesome. Jason Hodge is great. Leon Slater is great. This was a really fun, high-flying match. Leon Slater does win here too, so can't be mad at this. I do recommend people go watch this. This is a fun match.
No comment. Just scared. That was the right reaction. That was the right reaction.
Yeah,
Masha's just looking at notes, being like, "What do I say next?"
So Gio was interviewing Tessa, and that's all that needs to happen.
It's literally just the words in Sharpie on her palm. Don't be racist.
The crowd will not let you forget. And they should not.
Don't be racist. I am a building.
Oh man, I love this so much. So this is one of my favorite match stipulations in the crazy wacky world that is TNA. So this is an 8-4-1 match. So if you are unfamiliar with how this match works, so we have 8 participants in here. So this was all knockouts in this one. So this was, of course, Indy Hartwell, who I love dearly, Killer Kelly, Jody Threat, Tasha Steeles, Rosemary, Danny Luna, Tessa Blanchard, and Zaya Brookside. So the way that this 8-4-1 match works is that this starts as a 4-on-4 tag team match. And so each team is divided up into 4 people on each side. It works as a standard multi-person tag team match. When one team gets the pinfall or submission, then it goes into the 4-1 section, because we go from a 4-on-4 to the winning team going into a fatal 4-way, and then the winner, and then the winner of that fatal 4-way is declared the winner. However, what was added here as far as stakes goes is that the winner of this 8-4-1 match would get a future TNA Knockouts World Championship match. So they essentially would become the #1 contender.
Sure.
So on team 1, we have Indy Hartwell, Killer Kelly, Jody Threat, and Tasha Steeles. So red team. And then on team 2, yellow team, was Rosemary, Danny, Tessa, and Zaya. Team Red ended up picking up the victory here, so it became the fatal 4-way, in which Killer Kelly ended up winning. So Killer Kelly gets the future title shot, which, unless they have it happen during the TV tapings leading into Slammiversary, I'm pretty sure we're getting that match at Slammiversary, which I think would probably be the better idea.
And that would be MK Ultra Infight.
Yes.
Yep.
Which I would be here for.
So the thing, just seeing this image with Rosemary on it reminded me that Rosemary is in TNA right now. And I'm not sure if you'd heard, but Abaddon is now a free agent.
I want Abaddon to show up. They are so good. We love Abaddon here.
Can we get an Abaddon and Rosemary tag team?
Listen, I am here for more undead shenanigans. Like, even when Taya was here for a little bit, and Rosemary and Taya were the Death Dolls, which was great. I am here for Abaddon coming in over to TNA for a little bit. They are fantastic. We got a chance to talk with them last year, so it was pretty cool.
Their episode of Hey EW is one of my favorites.
So freaking good. I love them.
They put the glasses on, like, let's get into this.
Be like, here are my pronouns. I go by XY. They did a whole thesis, and I loved it.
Fascinating.
The other one I really enjoyed, just because he unintentionally, for like 2 weeks after his interview, became like the straight chaser for the bear community. And oh my goodness, I love. Oh my goodness, I love Mark Davis so much. But he unintentionally became the straight bear for the community for like 2 whole weeks after that whole entire interview. I was like, you are married, you are straight, but you give us so much gay vibes, and we love it.
Or my other favorite line from Hey EW was his one with Ricochet. He says,
oh my gosh.
To ricochet means to bounce off solid objects. What's your favorite object to bounce off of? And he just kind of goes, yes, of course. And shout out to her.
Oh my goodness. I loved it so much. But yeah, Killer Kelly wins. She and Masha will be going at it at some point. I think it's going to be fun. Masha's going to she literally says, and this is not hyperbole, she's like, I will put this bitch in her place and on her knees. I'm like, kinky.
Wow, someone's been reading Tony Storm's promo cues.
I mean,
they've already got the chain for it.
They're literally, I kid you not, guys, because I've been reviewing this for the last 2.5 years here on this channel. But when MK Ultra was around a year and a half ago, it was giving me, it literally was BDSM vibes. And we were here literally at one point, like Masha Slamovich entered crawling like a dog as Killer Kelly walked her with his chain. It was wild.
I was wondering, okay, so I've never, like, I'm gonna be totally honest, I've never seen this apparent power couple, but like when I watched her walk in with that chain and she set it down in front of Masha's feet, I was like,
Masha was very happy to see that chain.
I was gonna say, I was like, is there a little something going on? Like,
literally, they were the unofficial powered lesbian couple of TNA, not gonna lie.
Nice.
It was so good.
That makes sense now.
It was fantastic. But yeah, Masha's gonna put Killer Kelly back in her place and make her get on her knees. I was like, kinky. All right. Macklin is ready to fight. Who's next? That is literally what we got in this promo.
I will fight a person. Good, you're a wrestler. That's kind of your job.
That's in your job description. So yeah, man. Love you, Macklin, but dang.
Yeah, it was literally just a close-up of him just being like, I will fight anyone.
It was a pre-tape. It was like 30 seconds, JT. Like, it was 30 seconds. It was
You're
crazy.
Just like, really, my guy? Like, this is, you're going to, because that's what you get paid to do. Like, why are you still talking?
It's crazy out here. Mance Warner, well, Steph.
I'm sorry, that image.
Listen, I kid you not.
It's like they put him out there and said, like, all right, what do you need me to do? Well, you're about to put your life on the line for, I'm gonna what?
I'm gonna, huh?
Like, who? Anyways, no, literally, this is also his image that GCW uses for their graphics for anyone who's on the show. So it's crazy. So Mance and Steph are out here. Steph's like, we're coming after the TNA champion. We're coming after TNA gold. And it was just like, we're not done, Steve Macklin. I'm like, God, I thought we were. No hate, but I feel like Macklin needs to move on. But here's the thing, though. I think we're going to sidestep a little bit because for some reason, Mance decided to get into it with Tommy Dreamer. So I was just like, oh, Lord, help us. Listen, anybody who has been on this channel and has followed us for the last 2.5 years knows that we have a love-hate relationship with Tommy Dreamer, especially when he was our TNA digital media champion. And it was rough to watch a little bit, not gonna lie.
I can only imagine, like, because that's, again, having not watched it, but knowing Tommy Dreamer as the old school ECW fan that I was, and knowing what he put his body through 30 years ago.
It's wild that he still
30
takes
years,
these bumps.
30 years ago.
Because Mance literally gave him a journey. I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, and like I've heard I heard an interview somewhere. I think it was on Taker's podcast. He had like one of the other like old school ECW guys on, and it was like someone mentioned that if you need someone to do something in those days to pop the boys, not for the crowd, but to pop like the guys in the back room, like just do whatever needed to be done. Tommy Dreamer was that guy. Like, yeah, I'll do it for $5. You know? He was the $1 Bob guy. You know, it's like people are betting like, oh, how little are you going to take? Like, oh, I'll do it for 20. I'll do it for 15. They're like, I'll do it for 50 cents in a Coke. And just to get the reaction. He was the Johnny Knoxville of the WW or the ECW locker room. And the fact that he's still in the business 30 years later and still doing shit like this, bro,
it's crazy.
Like, Foley knew when to take a break. RVD knew when to take a break.
Not Dreamer. So,
like,
yeah, I would not be. Yeah,
Sabu didn't learn how to take a break, and look what happened. It's no hate. Rest in peace to one of the greats. But
yeah, R.I.P. man, R.I.P. So that was the thing that happened. I don't know what's going on with Eric Young, but he decided not to dye his beard again. And I was
So now he's Eric Old, right?
Yes. So him and Sami Callihan seem they're gonna be fighting for a little bit. I love Sami. I love him to death. He literally is the death machine. I don't know what's going on with Eric. Like ever since his feud with Steve Macklin ended, him and the Northern Armory have kind of been in a weird place of just floating. So it seems that we're moving on to this match, this feud, which I was like, okay, I'll bite. This was wild. Like,
okay.
This was wild in the sense because, I mean, this was just an overbooked like shenanigan. The Hardys do win, but that's because Trick Williams gets involved and causes a DQ. And so then First Class beat up the Hardys, which then has the Avengers of the TNA locker room come out, because then we had like the Nemeths and Macklin and Elijah and Joe and Leon Slater coming out. Everybody's fighting each other.
Oh yeah.
Leon Slater had the best part where he literally jumped over the ring post, did a swanton flip into the bad guys. The System was out here. It was crazy.
He did that swanton flip like he did during Against All Odds.
Yeah.
It was the same exact swanton flip.
So good.
Just different group of people. It was amazing.
The faces celebrated for TNA to go off the air. We will not be here next week to review TNA, but I will talk about that in a little bit. But to preview, we're getting an Order 4 summit, so we're getting promo from Ali and his crew. Eric Young and Sami Callihan about to be fighting, so that's going to be interesting. Also, every time I look at the Northern Army remaster, I was just like, what in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is this? Like, this is Casey's...
You got to know what a crumpet is to like cricket.
Yeah.
This was wild.
A Jose Canseco bat.
We are also getting Masha Slamovich and Liang Lee taking on the Elegance brand. So Ash and Heather by Elegance. And then what's probably going to be main eventing next week's episode is the Champions Challenge, where we have all the champions on one side and like, I'm assuming challengers on the other side. So this is Trick Williams, Steve Macklin, Moose, and the Nemeths. It's really weird to see Macklin in this position because even though he's more of a tweener, he's technically the only good guy champion on this side, the face, which is really weird to say. And then, of course, you have all your baby faces on the challenger side. So Leon Slater, Elijah, Joe Hendry, and the Rascals. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. But that brings us to the end of our review for Against All Odds and for TNA this week. Will, congratulations. You survived your first review with us. So much fun. So, really quickly, like I stated a couple minutes ago, next Friday on the 20th, there will not be a TNA review, and you might be wondering why. Well, too bad. No, I'm just kidding. No, the reason that there is no TNA review next week is because myself and my masked luchador co-host of El Buntador del Segundo, and of course Papo Oso himself, we will be doing a live watch-along for CMLL and New Japan's Fantastica Mania Mexico, which is, one of the bigger shows for CMLL throughout the year. So we're doing a live watch-along on that. We're going to watch Lucha Libre action. So it's going to be good. But we will be back in 2 weeks with the whole crew, hopefully all 4 of us. I can't believe I drafted 3 other people to watch TNA. So real quick story for you, Will. When we started BC WrestlePod 2.5 years ago and we started doing the reviews for the shows, I was the only TNA correspondent, and now I got 4 people to be in this madness with me. So this is going to be fun.
Absolutely.
But speaking of reviews, we still got 2 other things that are happening this week. It's like sleep does not exist for us. So tomorrow, thankfully, is just a pre-taped review for me. But Will, you were mentioning that you're 50-50 in booking. So before I get into the reviews, I do want to show our little graphic. These are our predictions league for TNA right now between the hosts. Will is killing it right now as he is in the lead with 15-3. And then JT, you and I are tied with 13-5. I'm usually pretty good with TNA. TNA has been hosing me the last 2 pay-per-views. I'm not going to lie. I was just like,
I'm okay with those odds. It's fine.
I know. I don't want to be last. So who knows? Slammiversary is either going to help or hurt a lot of people. But back to what's remaining this week. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, there will be a bite-sized review from myself, which I will be reviewing Mike Santana Presents Puerto Rican Weekend for House of Glory Wrestling, in which the main event was Tomohiro Ishii versus Mike Santana for the Hog World Championship. So I am doing it because, again, Puerto Rican here. Hello. But I wanted to do a bite-sized review because I've been really enjoying House of Glory, so I'm going to do that one. And then for an official long review on Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern is the WWE review of Dual Dynasty. We are reviewing the Raw and SmackDown post Money in the Bank. And we're going to talk about all the things that are happening, especially now that we're building towards Night of Champions, which, by the way, as I've been stating all week, there will be no official review for Night of Champions because Saudi Arabia.
Some just seeing that promotional the image for House of Glory, something really weird just occurred to me.
What's that?
Especially because WWE now has a relationship with NXT, right? And Mike Santana is in TNA, right? Or I'm sorry, NXT has a relationship with TNA, and so he's in TNA, but he's also the House of Glory champion, and he's defending that House of Glory championship against Tomohiro Ishii. Tomohiro Ishii is also a member of the conglomeration in AEW.
It's wild.
So as much as it's like WWE and AEW are it's like an Ouroboros except with two snake heads. It's not eating its own tail. It's two heads that just kind of go the whole time.
No, it is a crazy time for sure.
It's so weird.
It really is. But yeah, I'm excited. There's a whole lot going on this week too. I don't have images for it yet, but Sunday is the final thing for the week. But then we started all over again on Monday because Adolfo and I are going to be here reviewing New Japan's Dominion pay-per-view. So I'm excited for that. Gabe Kidd's going to destroy somebody. It's going to be fantastic to watch. Gabe Kidd is freaking psychopath.
My official prediction on Eddie Kingston coming back is for Blood and Guts, so that he can turn Gabe Kidd inside out.
Yes, I'm here for it, honestly,
because he's the one that injured Eddie. So it's
full circle moment.
Yep, just have him come back. It's no, you motherfucker. No, I don't care about Claudio. I don't care about Mox. No, you sit down.
Be like, I'm here for one thing and one thing only. Gabe Kidd, your ass is grass.
I'll get to the other two of you in a minute. Kid, get over here.
I am going to murderize you. But that's going to be it for us here at Six Sided Scholars. Thank you so much for tuning in. From myself, JT, and both Wills, I cannot wait for all four of us to get together in 2 weeks to review TNA once again. And from the rest of the BC WrestlePod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, like Cody Rhodes, you always deserve to finish your story. We'll catch you for more fun stuff this weekend. But until then, sayonara, adios, and until next time, we'll talk to you later. See ya.